So, this video has been made as a request from my old students and especially undergrad students. They keep on calling me for making a video like on what are the career options for political science and especially like humanities students. And I think one of the reasons I have seen why some students in humanities they do not they find it very hard to sustain their interest in the subject. The reason being they find it very hard to see any like future option for it. Like even if they have completed their UG and PG, what they can do in the future. So I made some slides. Definitely, it's not my original thought, and what I can gather the information. As I told you, this is especially for my ex-students who are still in touch with me, and they wanted me to just send a video for them. So I'm utilizing this Loom and also YouTube as the media to convey my message to them. So these are some options you can see over here. I just made some slides so that even if you are unable to understand, or my pronunciation is not as clear or the voice is not clear, you can always look into the slide. So some of them are like political journalism, civil services, administrative service, and these are very conventional fields I'm talking about over here. So you can always join one of these, and I think most of the students are aware of this journalism for sure. You need to gather this factual information and convey to the public. Civil service, definitely, as soon as somebody takes political science or even history, the parents expects him to become an IAS officer, and I hope the same impression is around the globe. Like they want to join civil services, and I haven't seen that interest in the present generation to join civil services as they feel it's going to be very boring and not challenging. So definitely, I'm not with that statement, but I'm just letting you know this is what I sensed from my students. So anyhow, these are some other career options for them. You can always go for research and teaching. I don't know how many are interested. This is another option given for humanities students. So today, actually, this is not the only reason, like political science or my own subject. It is to give a broader spectrum for humanities, like what you can do and what could be a better option for the whole humanities core subjects. So we'll start, I will keep on bringing new slides so that you can understand what I mean by that. Definitely, more than that, I want it to be kind of seen as a subject or career option better than any other algorithmic or maybe even STEM subjects. By STEM subjects, I mean to say science, technology, engineering, and maths, which is still seen, and that is a mindset. We keep on calling it as a STEM mindset in India, where parents force students to take up science. And I have met so many in my almost 10 years of career in academics. I've seen many students being pushed to science uh, just for the sake of somehow, because that is the mindset in India. They feel science is the only career option and it can give you more career options compared to humanities or even commerce. So they keep on pushing their awards to the wall, like to take science, whether they have aptitude for it or not. So rightly, somebody told, I think Charles, like humanities aren't a luxury; they are your competitive advantage in the algorithmic age. So this is So you can make out it's an edge, because science students can only think straight, like only what is right or wrong. But as they are not, even their subjects are not in sync with the public opinion, what people think. That's why they cannot make the decision what the customers need. So that's where humanities come into picture. When I'm talking about humanities, it includes whether you talk about philosophy, religion, music. So many tech giants, they have like now they started talking about that what kind of people or employees they would like to have in their companies. They say we need people who can think beyond the box, that we have been hearing it out of the box thinking, and they feel humanities is a subject that teaches you how to think creatively. So that's what written over here. As I told you, it's not my original thought. I just gathered the information just to be some like utility to my uh, undergrad students. So this is what they are writing over here. Core tech, definitely, if you want to create something like any engineering marvel, you need engineers for sure. But to figure out what people want, isn't that's a core statement over here. What people want, you can only sense it only when you're having this critical thinking. Isn't that instinct should be there? And that is possible when you're having this humanities subjects, whether it is history, political science. History can tell a lot about human nature. So it is not to denigrate any STEM subjects. Again, I repeat the expanded form, whether it is science, technology, engineering, mathematics. We do have enough regard for them. Like what we are talking about over here, it's interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary approach. That's why humanities comes into picture. I know when I was teaching this undergrad students, even in BTech and all, they used to have this Indian Constitution, and even some subjects like some combination. They can even opt for history and political science, even sociology. So what I mean to say, now this approach has come even to India. We are so fortunate. Like we're not seeing any subject in isolation. So critical thinking and all, I already told you that comes through humanities subjects, and that's the next slide. Um, as it is clearly given, humanities graduates happen to be well trained to do, like what they are well trained to do is to take up any challenge that the world brings in, isn't it? Right now, we are again in the midst of coronavirus threat. So, coronavirus definitely it's a medical threat, but doesn't mean humanities students do not have a role to play, because they are more in, as I used the statement before, they are in sync with the what people think. You know, coronavirus, the way you can tackle in India and in Western countries can be different depending on the culture. Many things you cannot introduce in India, whether like how they dealt with the or how they are dealing with the problem in South Korea, USA, maybe Italy, isn't it? You just can't replicate everything in India. You just can't imitate everything in India. There is lot of social stigma even about any disease that can be definitely communicable. It is not so, like people may not be so broad minded as you can find in Europe and USA, where disease is seen as a disease, but in India it can be can have some other meaning. So that's why humanities graduates come into play over here. We go to the next slide. Again, I'm continuing with the same topic over here, or the title Tech and Humanities. As I told you, if I keep on giving the conventional examples, like you can become civil servant or maybe a journalist, this may not excite this present generation. So nowadays we only talk about technology, we only think about technology, and with this uh, what you can say lockdown around the world, global lockdown, almost 1.9 billion people are in lockdown right now, isn't it? So obviously for them technology is the only rescue point over here, because they cannot go out. the way they used to spend their weekends and all. They used to go out for movies, they used to go to the malls and all. It is completely restricted. So now the only refuge for them is technology. They are sitting at home, uh, like maybe conversing with their Alexa, or Fire Stick is there. Isn't Amazon Fire Stick? They're watching movies, they're streaming movies through YouTube or maybe Amazon or maybe Netflix. So there are these are the only options available right now. Isn't nobody wants to like get the virus for sure. Isn't that's why even parents, you might have seen how they have changed. Before they used to be very liberal, like if they are going out for weekends, but now even uh, definitely the liberty, isn't it, the movement of their kids have been restricted. So that's why I took up this like what are the career options, and mainly I just focused on technology, because I think somehow it will interest humanities students. Somehow they are connected. Not only humanities students, every student is connected to technology right now. So you can read that arts and humanities give context to the world we operate in day to day. So critical thinking lets you know how to actually communicate with the people even by using technology, isn't it? And if somehow I can bring that common platform between whoever is listening to me and what I'm talking, I'm just trying to ensure I should not be talking like a robot. That's why I'm bringing in day to day life over here. I know you are facing problems, you cannot go out. So this I can think, I should say, humanities has like those subjects have given me that feel. I'm not only thinking like whether I'm using headphone, whether I'm using this webcam, whether I'm using Loom or any Zoom software. I'm not like I don't think I should talk like a robot over here. I can feel what you can feel right now, isn't it? The restraint or restrictions, whether it is curfew around the world. So I'm trying to bring that human touch. I think that reading a lot about history, political science, sociology, that has given me the feeling how society feels whenever they are in such crisis. So I'm bringing in those feelings over here. So I hope you must have felt that feeling when you're talking to Alexa. Alexa, you always feel it's a human figure. Even when I communicate with Alexa, I never get the feeling I'm talking to a machine. The way she responds and the way she behaves, isn't it? So? This is the thing. I hope you must have read. I gave you enough time over here. So again, one of the case studies I have taken from, I think, student, some site is there. As I already told you, it is not my own original thought. Let me try to remember. I think student, that is the STOODNT. This is the site I have got most of the thoughts. So what they say and the case study they have given is how even Google employs such a huge tech giant, isn't it? So even they need people who are having expertise, or they are adept in definitely humanities, linguistic, literature, arts that you can read over here. Is even psychology. So you know what people think, isn't it? There will be uh, kind of a varied approach, or difference in approach, how you communicate with a professional. Like if you want to convey something to a corporate house, your voice should be very formal, isn't it? Maybe I'm not saying you cannot be informal in between, but it needs to be formal. If they need to present whatever video you have made, or whatever audio you have created or you have generated, it should have some formal approach. On the contrary, if the audio file or the video file has to be used for, let's say, for some housewives, you cannot be so formal in your approach, isn't it? Whether you're giving a recipe for any food or any maybe delicacy, it should have some kind of human touch or something very informal. You cannot be so formal like you're having a webinar over here. You need to be very informal so that housewife can have that connect with you, and she will keep on following you. Isn't It is not completely out of sync if you even communicate with Alexa, and if you want some recipe from her, the way she talks, it somehow strikes a connection with the housewife. So what I'm trying to tell over here, you need to have this combination, whether it is psychology or sociology. Sociology is the study of society, about their culture, how they behave. Similarly, philosophy, and even you should be good enough in what are the local cultures of the people, isn't it? Even linguistics, you should be very good in one of the languages, and as many languages you can study, that is good for you. Literature, arts, they do play a role in uh, like everyone will have hard skills, but to have soft skill, it's the most important requirement in this tech savvy world, because they are not only looking for a technology, but they are looking for a technology that will have a human touch, and that can only be provided by humanities students. Take it from me, that is true. As I told you before, engineers and mathematicians can only think in terms of what is right and what is wrong, but there is a big void space between what is right and wrong, isn't it? And there is something what we keep on saying, gray scale or gray area, that can be covered only by humanities students. So this is another. We're just continuing with Google Giant, how they have brought this software, Google Translate, that translates around 103 languages, and that means they need people who are good in their native languages. So please do not be disheartened. Like I know when you go to native like and villages, they feel this urbanization is somehow overwhelming their options, because they are not so conversant in this foreign language, whether it is French or English or whatever. But Google knows that, again, if I need to take the same example as I took before, if a housewife needs to cook, maybe she is looking for a local language. Isn't there are many cultural based recipes in India, whether it is from Andhra, Kerala, Delhi, Punjab, and so on, isn't it? So they need to have that touch when they are listening to that. So you cannot treat every listener like in the same way. That's why Google is translating everything. Even if somebody is like recording a recipe in English, they are making sure it can be translated into native languages. As I told you, most of the recipes are actually searched by housewives. Now they have become tech savvy, but maybe the language can be a big barrier. So we come to again, I'm using the same topic, but maybe in a different way, artificial intelligence and humanities. Artificial intelligence, it's a talk of the town. Whether you talk about these blue chip companies, as I given the example, whether it is Apple, IBM, Microsoft, so everyone is using artificial intelligence, isn't it? The videos you're looking for, the movies you're looking for, if you ask Fire Stick, Amazon Fire Stick, I want to see Hindi old movies. Somehow within 10 or 15 days, they will come to know your flavor is old Hindi movies, or maybe Oscar winning English movies or Hollywood movies. So it will program your local channel, or whenever you're switching on your fire stick, it will keep on preserving those movies for you. And as soon as you start searching, you will see most of the old Hindi movies are coming as your search points. And even like as I gave you the example, Oscar moving winning movies. So most of the movies will be like which has won Oscars. So this is the power of artificial intelligence. So they are reading you, and as Harari used to say, now they know you better than you know yourself. So this is how humanity is again coming into picture. And as you can read that. They need designers who are from fine arts background, and the logic remains the same as I told you before. Again, it requires coding skills that will be provided by engineers, but again, the users friendly approach that can be only taken by humanities students. Definitely, the coding, most of the humanities students cannot do. I'm not saying it is the black and white rule. Any humanities students can go ahead and learn how to code and all. And I know many of my students who have taken up this course, coding skills and all. But still, what they feel, science students go for this skill. But still, how to design it, that can be again the support, back support can be given by the humanities student because they know the real world. So same thing, artificial intelligence with a humanities touch. As I kept using the phrase human touch, that is a common belief that can be provided by humanities. That's why even many science subjects, as I told you before, now they are offering, whether it is the local constitution, I mean to say, whether you're in USA, whether in India or Canada, they are helping them to learn what is there in the constitution, isn't it? It is very much required because if you are an engineer, you cannot develop something that is not actually legitimized by your like supreme law of the land, that is a constitution. And similarly, you should know about the culture if you want to develop something for a nation, isn't it? Many things you cannot make for let's say Arab world, that can be seen as completely means blasphemy or as you say against a religion. Please do not think I'm trying to like denigrate any region over here. It can be true for Asia or maybe for Western countries also. And this is what I was talking from the beginning. Uh, Artificial intelligence should have that semblance to personality. Semblance to personality means if a person is talking, he should get the feel he's talking to a human being, not to a robot, isn't it? Not to a machine. And I don't think anybody will would like to keep on talking to a machine if he gets a feeling the person is non-living thing. That's why people love to talk to Alexa, and they're bringing different versions and native versions to it. So they are naming it Radha or whatever. Means you can think about it, seems like you're talking to a local person, and they can actually convey each and every message in a very what you can say local cultural touch. They are giving that local cultural touch to each and every voice software. So that is the whole purpose of bringing humanities over here. So this is like some of the fields given for you. You can always go for computational linguist. Not only linguistic person, you can become something that is connected to technology, isn't how to use in technology and how to understand your customers. So as I told you so many times, they will be giving you like we are focusing on this particular uh, customers, and you need to speak those language, those kind of professional lingua franca. You cannot use like certain words that is used in garments industry, you cannot use for some other industry. So you have to be very specific about that, like sweatshops and so on. Again, technical writer, you can opt for this. You can go for conversational designer. Conversational designer is a person who will strike a conversation according to the customer, isn't it? So your tone will change. You need to modify your voice according to the customer base that you're going to interact with. So but one thing is for sure, you cannot be in your what you can say shell. You cannot say I'm in humanities, so I do have very bright future. But what they're saying, especially in Germany and all, you need to pursue your studies. You need to do your PhD. Maybe nowadays even PhD has become so traditional, so conventional. You need to join some postdoctoral courses. You need to keep on studying, and definitely, that is the scope provided in most of the foreign countries where you can study and you can work also. That somehow gives the balance. You don't have to feel you're out of kind of a professional field or you're not earning something. So by PhD, you can understand your age will be touching almost 30 and so on. So that feel is there again. That mindset is there in India. You need to earn after a certain age. So the only advantage the foreign countries provide, even in India nowadays, I've seen many students like even the students I used to teach, they are working in McDonald and so on, and they're also studying. So I think that feel has come to India also. It's not a stigma now to work and also to earn. I mean to say even to study and to earn. So this is what these are some of the key components of your employability, skill and experience. So you can keep on sharpening your skills by going for PG, for PhD, and even for postdoctoral. You need to acquire new skill. That is in very short. You can. I'm just trying to get into yeah. Uh, as I told you, you need to upgrade your skill, and you can even learn through this serious YouTubing. What they're saying, not only watching movies, but there are many learning avenues within YouTube that you can always access. And why they have given this option, for sure, when we are talking about upgrading the skills in a country like India, where you need to take care of your family or something, you may not have the luxury of going for PhD or postdoctoral. So you can work and sorry, and at the same time you can have online learning. There are so many platforms right now, isn't it? You can continue your education with that. You can also, and we are definitely in the era of digital learning. And especially if there is like any virus threat, like right now we are having this threat of coronavirus. I think now people are knowing the advantage of using technology, and people who have somehow registered to online learning, they are feeling they are more fortunate compared to people who are in like physical or maybe in the school setup or in college setup. They may not be able to attend their classes, regular classes, but as far as online courses are there, it is continuing. So this is the next one. Just some other reasons why you need to, if you if you're a if you think you're good in writing, if you do have this creative flair for writing, um, again you can think about exploring or expanding your areas. Like you can go for graphic designing, this UX and UI design, that means user friendly. Not only designing, but whether it will be user friendly or not. You should understand you will be dealing with maybe some literate people, some illiterate people, maybe some people who are not that literate, but they will be knowing how to use computer, but they may not be expert in that. So all the buttons and all you have to use, like where you have to place them, or even if you're giving some commands, like let's say like in Fire Stick, the voice commands, it should be very easy decipherable for the person who is using it. It should not be so technically jargon, like nobody can actually recall it. If you want to watch some movies or your favorite serials, or you want to explore some new recipes and all. So these are some online courses. Again, thanks to the information that is there in the Google and all, I'm just using that. You can always go for University of Pennsylvania, as it is clearly given English for journalism, better business writing in English, and there are so many courses that you can do while you're working. So there is no pressure of actually leaving your job. When you come back from your job, half an hour or 1 hour you can give for all this. And game theory, even how to make creative games. Isn't video game is such a kind of a trend, and definitely people love to play games, whether they are kids or even mature professionals. So you can always get into those online courses, how to make creative games and all. So these are few examples I'm giving. There are hundreds of them. So, and where you can find Stanford University, it is not done by any XYZ university. You can see British Columbia, isn't it? So they are quite recognized, and the modules they have made, it is so user friendly. Again, this is another option given. Like even if you need to make any course modules for this online courses, this is another avenue. Like people who are having flair for writing, they can write it the way it can be understood by the students. So that is another career option for you. So nicely, Wall Street Journal somehow it has summarized the whole thing. While graduates with humanities and liberal art degrees may earn less, but later they will have a better earning compared to any other professional degrees. The reason being humanities, definitely you will not start earning like lakhs and lakhs in the beginning, but uh, the skills you will keep on upgrading, that will take you somewhere no other professional can reach, whether it is engineer or something, because you do have what is most required right now is human touch. As I already told you, you can always overwhelm these professionals. The reason being they only know right and wrong, but you know what is between them because of your exposure to maybe sociology, maybe political science, history, and so on. So that is the advantage. So another quote given over here: "It's not about the scope in arts; it's about the scope in you." So that is very important. This part, what is the scope in you? So how you can keep on broadening that scope is by learning new skills. Isn't it? Do not keep on crying for a new opening, like what are the openings in arts or humanities. Rather, you should keep on exploring like what are the new scopes. That is possible only when you're upgrading your skills. That's why they're asking, it's about the scope in you. The scope is about how much you can learn. If you can keep on learning, if you can keep on sharpening your skills, I think humanities is a very good option. So thanks a lot for your patient listening. Any feedback, you're most welcome. Thanks a lot. Thank you.